You're about to listen to the Dr. Dahlia Show. Sassy, stimulating medical talk radio. Any medical advice Dr. Dahlia Wax gives on her show should not be substituted for an actual visit to your medical provider. And now, here's Dr. Dahlia.
All right, we are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-Dr. Dahlia, 1-877-DOCDALI. So Joe Rogan had Mel Gibson on his popular podcast. And in January 2025, Mel Gibson claimed that 3 of his friends who had stage 4 metastatic cancer were cured by using an off-label medical regimen. Now, I remember when he talked about this. Mel Gibson was one of my favorite actors until he went off on an anti-Semitic rant. Still a gifted actor. I'm still a fan of his acting, and I know he apologized and he spoke to Jewish leaders and all that, but he knows to go off the handle, and I've seen him in interviews. He sometimes just doesn't seem to be as smooth as he used to be. And so I understand people are like, oh, he's crazy, you know, but what he's talking about is ivermectin and fenbendazole. And so Mel Gibson claimed that all 3 of his friends took for their cancer ivermectin, which is an anti-parasite that I studied at the EPA when we were looking at parasites in cows. And became very well known in the COVID fight. And then fenbendazole, which is a veterinary dewormer. Again, also an anti-parasite. It's not approved in humans. But Mel Gibson claimed, not that he's a physician, but he claimed that his friends no longer have the disease. Now, prescription requests and demand skyrocketed. Apparently, the steepest increases, according to New York Post, were in young men, white patients, and those in the South. Among cancer patients, prescription rates were more than 2.5 times higher. In the South, they surged from 3 times their 2024 levels. Why is something like this not more well known? What's going on? Well, the problem is we don't have a lot of human trials or clinical trials. We don't have enough. This is difficult because when you have somebody with cancer, you don't have a lot of time. The clock is ticking. And to see if a anti-helminitic or an anti-parasite works, you almost have to then dissect out the other medications. You have to then go, well, we're going to try this, and then we're going to try this. And how long do you try it for? 6 months? A year? We don't have a lot of time. And so we don't have a lot of clinical trials. Why would they think fenbendazole, a veterinary dewormer? Well, because some of the evidence shows, now this is in animal studies, that it may have anti-cancer properties by disrupting cancer cell metabolism, inhibit the sugar uptake by these cancer cells, induce apoptosis, which is programmed cell death, and they believe how it works, the fenbendazole, is it interferes with the tubulin polymerization. You need that for cancer cell division. And they believe that what they think it could do is arrest in the G2M phase. They also think it could reduce the glucose uptake and consumption by downregulating GLUT, glut transporters, and hexokinase 2, trying to starve the cancer cells. This is all according to Google AI. From ariarjournals.org, that it can enhance the accumulation of reactive oxygen species, activating P53, which could lead to cancer cell death, and possibly then limit metastasis. Unfortunately, again, this is mice studies. It's not all cancer cell lines also. This is looking at lung, colorectal, breast, and lymphoma. Now, we are starting to hear of some people go, wait a second, I've tried it, I'm working, and this, it's called anecdotal evidence. When Mel Gibson has friends who said they took it and they're fine, it's still a form of evidence. It's not a clinical trial evidence, and it might not be scientifically statistically significant, but validated. But anecdotally is when somebody says they did something and it worked. We have to look into it. I think we should. But the fenbendazole, the veterinary dewormer, not necessarily at all allowed to be used in humans. It's not approved for FDA human use. Can affect your liver, because we know that it could happen. It could affect the liver in animals. So it's not something that we recommend as humans. Should we study and look into it? Absolutely. With ivermectin, they think what ivermectin does is inhibit the proliferation of tumors. It could inhibit the tumor growth, induce cell death, enhance immune responses. These are things that they believe in animals might later translate to humans. In terms of the mechanism of action, it's a little different than the dewormer. With this, they think it might inhibit angiogenesis, which is the blood vessel formation necessary in tumors. Tumors have to be very vascular, so it might limit that. It may also help reverse resistance to chemotherapy. And so allowing a tumor from being cold to hot, being more responsive. Again, we don't have enough studies in humans. There is a phase 2 trial going on right now, looking at ivermectin in combination with immunotherapies for metastatic triple-negative breast cancer. So that's very, very cool. But what's been happening is, people think that the CDC or the government is going to go too slow on this. I know RFK Jr. wants to look into this. And you always hear the liberals go, oh, this is ridiculous, this or whatever. Look, as far as I'm concerned, okay, when it comes to cancer, we got to look at everything. But again, we're limited because for us to do these trials, if we don't want you to get standard care or miss out on getting standard care. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything to help you survive. And so oftentimes with a lot of these human critical trials is for people that might fail standardized care. And they're like, look, I'm at my wit's end. I'll try anything. And so, sometimes that's where you get the patient population where they haven't done well or they've had resistance to chemotherapy and common anti-cancer treatments. So, it's exciting to know that there are some human clinical trials in the works. I don't know how long it's going to be until we have anything definitive on that. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Before you make another minimum payment, you need to know there are special programs that can completely free you of your debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020 for a free consultation. For 16 years, Total Financial Freedom has helped thousands get out of debt. You can feel confident when calling because Total Financial Freedom is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Battling for years and years stuck in the endless cycle of minimum payments could take decades. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-878-6020. That's 800-878-6020. 800-878-6020.
Let's face it, guys, we're living in times where the truth is becoming more suppressed and censorship is increasing at an alarming rate, especially on social media platforms. It's Clyde, and I want to tell you about a safe and secure digital playground we put together just for you. It's aftermath.media. You get access to thousands of Ground Zero archives and podcasts, along with our private social media groups with your basic membership starting at only $7 a month. Each subscription includes tech support, access to the RSS feeds, along with our own chat room and Telegram channel. In addition, the premium membership includes research study groups, webinars, a document and movie library, a live video stream of Ground Zero, a monthly Zoom chat with me, and other bonus content. Be sure to check out our yearly specials as well. Sign up today while you're thinking about it. Sign up at aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
back on the Dr. Dahlia Show, 1-877-DOC-DALI, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Big thanks to Talk Media Network for making the show happen. Big thanks to Daniel, our producer, and big thanks to y'all for tuning in. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or X at Dr. Dahlia, Facebook, The Dr. Dahlia Show, and on YouTube, click like and subscribe. So we just spoke about speeding. Now we got to talk about distracted driving. 29% of auto crashes involve distracted driving, and according to the U.S. Department of Transportation, this results in more than 10,000 deaths and 1.3 million injuries annually. For Jennifer Smith, these numbers are personal. She lost someone she loved because another driver was distracted. She gets the impact. This is horrifying experience. She fueled and co-founded the StopDistractions.org. It's a grassroots nonprofit organization dedicated to eliminating the devastation that results when a loved one is killed or injured in a distracted driving crash. We are very, very glad to welcome Jennifer Smith to the show. Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
Wow. I can't imagine what you've gone through. Talk to us about your experience and, why this is more than just statistics.
Yeah, well, for me, it is deeply personal. September of 2008, my mom was leaving her neighborhood, and she was hit, T-boned by a driver that was talking on their cell phone. They never saw her. They never touched her brakes.
Ugh.
That crash changed every aspect of my life. Since then, I've worked with thousands of families across the country through our organization, StopDistractions.org. What we've learned is behind every one of those numbers and those statistics is a real person, a real family, and it's a lifetime of consequences. So we work together, the solution requires the knowledge and the resources of people and organizations working together. So StopDistractions.org has partnered with groups like State Farm for the benefit of communities across the country. They really understand that this issue takes long-term investment in education, innovation, technologies, public policy, and community collaboration. That is where we're starting to see successes. And it's those collaborations is what we need across the spectrum, to really solve distracted driving. It's that monumental of a problem.
And I learned, I learned how to drive in the 80s and, hands on 10 and 2. We didn't have cell phones back then. I was listening to Def Leppard and music. I think it was KZZP in Phoenix, Arizona. I was, or 98.5 here in Vegas. And I would have, the music on, but I didn't have a phone that was beeping or texting or I see people changing their playlist. They may not purchase all the songs, so they go on YouTube and want to type in the new song. I mean, this is just crazy. And so there's so many now distractors. And in fact, it's leading you to your dash. We're looking at how distracted driving is now one of the most urgent road safety challenges today. The cars are continuing to distract you by having these screens that make you look that, oh, you got a text message. Why do they do that?
Yeah, I mean, technology, the advancements, that appeal of the infotainment system, you're right. It is becoming more and more complex and interactive, but this is an ongoing conversation that, the components of that conversation do keep changing. And we're bringing new solutions, and solutions are coming along and things are changing. I mean, I hear some are bringing back knobs and buttons because the touch screens are too much. Our phones, the one thing with our phones is they're ever evolving. At first, we were only using them for text messages and our calls. Now there are cameras, our entertainment center. I mean, people are watching Netflix. They're watching basketball games. They're on video calls, in meetings, shopping, paying bills, you name it, playing games. People, you name it, people are doing it behind the wheel. So it's an ever-evolving topic, but it's something that if we change the culture behind distraction and just make that unacceptable as a whole, that's where we can beat the technology advances. But then again, I mean, on the other token, there are technology solutions that have now come out that can help us change those behaviors for the better.
Which we need. Yeah. It's interesting. I was driving with my husband and he had the GPS on and it was a rental car. So it was one of the fancier cars because we don't have screens in our cars. And we're in a rental car. And then it asked us to comment if the accident was there or if the cop was still there. And it's like it's asking the driver questions. So my husband's like, can you answer them back? And I'm like, tell them to leave you the heck alone because you're driving. And so I love that we're, and thanks to the good work you've done. Talk to us about some of what you've accomplished to help fight against distracted driving.
There have been a lot of successes. I've been at this almost 18 years now, and I've seen a lot of great things, of course, fueled by the families who have been impacted and the efforts of the groups they work with and organizations like mine. And the partnerships, like, again, it takes a village. None of us can do this by ourselves. And that's where State Farm comes in with great resources and tips available on their websites. One of the successes we've had, I can tell one story, is on the legislative front. We work with families across the country to pass hands-free laws. It's a no-brainer. The phone should be out of your hand when you're driving. Mm-hmm. You can still use it hands-free. No one's taking away your ability to communicate, but it should be out of your hand to get all those abusive uses. Well, in Iowa, they recently passed their hands-free law, and in the first year they had their law in effect, also only giving warnings. This is about education and change behavior, not about punishment, not about revenue and writing tickets. It's really about making people stop doing this behavior. Mm-hmm. But doing that in their first year, they saw the lowest fatalities in over 100 years. That is huge. If we could do that in every state across the country, we would see such significant reductions, and families would be at home at the dinner table at night to celebrate their special times.
Oh, yeah. Most accidents happen within a mile or two of one's house and I see this with my neighbors. They just get casual. They get too relaxed. They're like, well, I've been on this road and I'm walking the dog and the dog's running into the middle of the street and they, on the leash and we can't take for granted that our distracted driving can hurt us not only on the highways, but also on the roads. I drove stick, and so for me, I learned how to drive, and I drove stick. And when I remember my folks said, well, buy an automatic, it makes it so much easier. I go, but what do I do with my hands? I'd rather drive stick. And now nobody drives stick anymore, and so now they have their hands free, and maybe we need to bring that back because when you were driving, you had to shift. I mean, you were driving and it was all about the car. It wasn't about, well, I got to see what's going on. My YouTube song is over. So it's interesting that some of the things you brought up. One question that I'm looking at here is what experienced drivers wish they had known as teens. Yeah, what's the answer to that? What do experienced drivers wish they knew as teenagers?
Oh, gosh, that's such a big question. There's so much I wish we all would have known. One is that you need to really watch everybody else. You need to know, Are they paying attention? Are they going to stop? I mean, that's one thing I think I really took for granted when I was driving. I was more concerned with me and how I was driving. You got to watch everyone else nowadays as well. But then also on the other side of that, as teens, there are great things now. There's things you can get through your insurance companies. There's apps and, through telematics that can help rate how you drive and help give you tips and coaching on how to become a better and safer driver. So again, that's where, we always say technology got us into this mess and technology is going to get us out of it. And now teens can do that. And not only with that, the teens can then tell their parents to put that same app on their phone and compete with them and, really hold each other accountable. That's one way to get your whole family involved. And then in the end, you all become better drivers and maybe you save some money on your insurance because you are such great drivers.
I'd say I like the apps where you could see if your kid is speeding. I think those are fantastic and see, what your kid is doing. So that's very helpful too in terms of tech. So in the last minute or so, anything else, Jen, you'd like to share with my listeners?
I just want to say to even back it up before any of that is to not underestimate the importance of even a small step towards safer driving. Make a personal commitment for yourself to be a good driver, to put your phone down, to focus on the road. And then make that a family commitment. Like I said, challenge each other, hold each other accountable. It's not going to solve the whole big issue, but that's where it really starts. It starts at home. You can find There's all kinds of great information and resources, tips around distracted driving at statefarm.com/safe driving. And don't forget that being alert and being focused behind the wheel could be the difference between having or not having a loved one there for your special moments in your life. So just
Absolutely.
remember to put the phone down and just
Sorry
drive.
for your loss, Jennifer. You've been through a lot, but what you're doing is saving lives, and her death will not be in vain. God bless you, and we can't wait to have you back.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, don't go away. 1-877 Doc Dolly.
Looking for a gift that can actually help secure someone's future? It's Mark Falter's new book, Common Sense Income Strategies. It makes the perfect gift for that special someone in your life. Mark has helped thousands of hardworking Americans secure their financial future by using time-tested strategies that continue to create wealth, whether the market is up or down. Strategies that will make perfect sense once you take the time to read this powerful book. Common Sense Income Strategies brings to you what Mark has been teaching in person and talking about on the radio for decades. You've worked too long and too hard not to see the fruits of your labor. To learn how to receive your free copy, call 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635. Secure your future with Common Sense Income Strategies by Mark Falter. Again, to learn how to receive your free copy, call 866-764-2635. That's 866-764-2635.
We're back on the Dr. Dolly Show, 1-877 Doc Dolly, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So this is the time of year where I get calls from patients saying, New Year's resolution didn't work. These weight loss drugs, I don't know if I'm doing them right because I haven't lost the weight I needed to. And the first question I ask is, what's your regimen? Who's helping you with this? Who's helping you navigate this? Or are you just doing one solitary thing? Because if you're going to manage diabetes or high blood pressure or a beauty routine or a weight loss routine, it's not just one aspect to it. And so I'm really, really excited for our next guest. We have Dr. Neha Pathak, Chief Physician Editor and Health and Lifestyle Medicine, to talk to us about Embody. Embody is a new inclusive platform that offers self-guided classes, downloadable resources, interactive self-tests, webinars, and community support to not only help us, with weight, but to develop and maintain healthy lifestyles. Dr. Pathak, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Wow. Well, this is exactly what, we've been telling patients that they need to look at and consider, because, it's to lose weight. It's a process, but you could be successful. But, accountability is a big part of that. Talk to us about this accountability and what this platform can do.
That's exactly right. So, yes, so many of us start the year off, we're very motivated, we have these resolutions, but as we know, motivation is a feeling, and feelings can fluctuate. So you may be really, really feeling it one day and then not the next. But what really makes us stick to a change goal is if we have a plan and if we have the support systems that help us stay consistent with that plan. And that's really where accountability comes in. As our motivation might fade, we can turn the I should be doing to I have a plan to do it, and someone is helping me follow that plan with accountability. And that's really what we're trying to do, as you mentioned, with the Embody platform, is to pull all of these pieces together to figure out what should I be doing, what's the best evidence, how can I do it in my life, and then to provide accountability partners and a support system so that you have your best shot at making these changes.
Oh, I love that. So talk to us about Embody and what does it do and offer?
Yeah, so as you said, we have so many patients and so many people we talk to in our lives where they have a health goal, whether it's weight loss or improving their blood pressure or just in general feeling better, better well-being. And what we know as doctors is sometimes we are really good at giving a very concrete prescription with a name, a dose, a timing. But when it comes to the things that are going to be really helpful in the long term, we often say things like, well, I also want you to eat better, and I want you to sleep better, and I want you to be more physically active. But we don't always give people the concrete prescription on how to do that. Right. And so that's what Embody is trying to do, is to say, okay, let's tune out all the noise, all the confusion. Here are the experts that are providing the best evidence for that small behavioral change, whether you're motivated to change your diet or somebody else may be motivated to increase physical activity or to sleep better. So it's the what. What is the best evidence? Tuning out the noise. And the second piece is the how. So the website offers free resources anytime, anywhere to really help you figure out what's best for you. Are you somebody who likes self-guided classes? Are you somebody who prefers a downloadable resource or a checklist that you can check in with regularly? Or do you want to have access to experts in real time? You can participate in our live webinars. So all of this is accessible on the website. Plus, what you said is so important is the community support, the accountability partner to make sure that you can check in with someone and say, hey, this was my plan and this is how it's going.
Absolutely. You know, raising kids, for example. You think, okay, you're going to raise kids by yourself. No, you need the teachers, or you have your clergy, or you have the doctor, or same thing, going through, a beauty routine, or work. We fear that this is something we have to do on our own, but almost everything in life, at medical school, I couldn't have gotten through medical school without other people like patients. So I think we do, have to reevaluate our thinking where, weight loss has to be something private in your own, personal space. And no, you can incorporate others, and just the power of support groups can't be overstated. Talk to us about why that's so important in reaching our health goals.
You are so right. So number one, it's really important to be motivated to set a health goal. So that's one piece of it. But what keeps us coming back, what keeps us consistent is that support group. And I think so often we think of a support group as really focusing on one particular health goal, but it's so much more than that, because support groups are incredibly powerful because it gives us a sense that we belong somewhere. We're with a group of people that are all on a similar mission. So that's one key piece. The second piece is it normalizes what we're going through. So whether that's a goal for weight loss, or it's a goal for improving our blood pressure, or a goal to get our sugars under better control, we all talk about it in a group, then we normalize that we're not alone. This is not just something I'm struggling with. We're all trying to figure out the best strategies. And then the third piece is we get to share strategies. So if somebody else has figured out a great way of getting that extra piece of fruit into their diet, that's great. Let's share that strategy. Let's all try to do that. And then the key piece is momentum. So we celebrate each other's successes so that we can build on the next step. So support groups, much more than just focusing on that one health goal.
Exactly. And, patients will feel very intimidated that their doctor is going to be upset with them, that they, research or they went to somebody else, or when, I direct people to WebMD often. That's actually one of my huge go-to sites for patient education and resources. And, I didn't realize that there's so many patients who didn't know that we medical professionals want you to educate yourself and get other opinions. And so, I love that Embody is doing that. And I'm, grateful for everything WebMD has done, because they're my go-to, and they've helped patients, help educate themselves and, follow their goals in terms of their health. So Dr. Pathak, I'm really grateful you came on. Anything else you'd like to share with my listeners?
I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to shine a light on finding a place where you can go to get more information on your own time. Doctors are very important. We want to be there for you. We want to help guide you. We want you to bring us any questions that you have. But in the meantime, checking out sites like Embody at youembody.com, youembody.com, can help you in the between times to set that plan, set that intention, and then get down to making concrete actions.
Love it. Cannot wait to have you back. Thank you for all you do, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.
1-877-DOC-A-DOLLY, 1-877-DOC-DALI. Yeah, it's interesting. Somehow this idea that, I went to Dr. Google. And I know doctors have made a lot of memes and health workers, seem to get all insulted that I don't mind you taking on the education. I want to make sure, you don't get misinformation. But no, the idea that getting through a medical issue or a lifestyle change is all on you and all on your shoulders. It's not. When my husband was diagnosed with diabetes, that wasn't, okay, well, good luck. All the power to you. Oh, no. I'm involved. The kids are involved. And my sons make them go to the gym. I make them go for walks. Apparently, it's really, really good. It really improves your insulin resistance. This idea where you have to sit and wait for a couple hours after you eat. No. After you eat, it's good to start walking. Don't do a run or marathon, but I change the food that's in the house. It's a group effort. It takes a village, people. It takes a village. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Carl Amari here to tell you about our newest website for old-time radio lovers. It's 100radioshows.com. At this site, there are 5 old-time radio shows waiting for you to download free as our gift to you, and be sure to browse the additional 700 old-time radio shows available to you for 70% off by using the promo code RADIO at checkout. This is a limited-time offer, so log on to 100radioshows.com. That's 100radioshows.com.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to get the money? My name is Ron LeGrand, and over the past 40 years, I've bought over 3,000 houses without using my money or credit, and taught thousands to do the same. Today, even in a virtual environment, we buy nice houses in nice neighborhoods using no banks, realtors, contractors, or other costly entanglements, and build huge cash flow and wealth without the hassle of tenants, all without credit and little or no money. You don't need a license or experience, and I'll show you exactly how it's done. Text FREE to 99799, and I'll send you my free training. I promise you I'll change the way you think about real estate and open the door to a new lifestyle that doesn't involve risk or rehabs and can quickly replace your current income. Text FREE to 99799 and let me show you how to take your life back and build cash flow and wealth from your home. That's FREE to 99799. Again, FREE to 99799.
As an organ donor, your story doesn't have to end. The good in you can live on. In fact, you could save up to 8 lives and restore sight and health for many more. Sign up right now online as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. You'll be happy you did. And just maybe, someone else will be happy too. Go to organdonor.gov. It saves lives. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
We are back on the Dr. Dahlia Show. Thank you all for tuning in. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY, 1-877-DOC-DALI. So there's, I guess, another new weight loss pill. Now that we have Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, Mounjaro in terms of injectables, many people are not liking the injectables. They're also finding they're pretty expensive, and they're hoping that one way to get the cost down is to have daily pills. People like taking diet pills. And so the companies have heard your requests, and they are doing pills and Foundayo or orforglipron is a once daily pill developed by Eli Lilly for lasting weight loss. They say it is the only type that can be taken any time of day without food or water restrictions. Now, how did people do on this Foundayo? They lost an average of 27.3 pounds, and that's on their highest dose. Eli Lilly also makes Zepbound and Mounjaro. And so they know what they're doing when it comes to these medications. But one thing that nobody's really talking about, even is that, okay, the average participant lost 27 pounds. It's fantastic. Losing 27 pounds can help a lot of people in terms of their diabetes, sleep apnea, metabolic disorders, heart health, cancer risk. Losing 27 pounds is fantastic. But many patients need to lose more than 27 pounds. And we're putting people on these medications quicker than they could ask for it. There's all these microdosing commercials and all that. And, some people are saying, I lost 40 pounds. Some people are saying they lost more. That's great. But on average, we're seeing in the 20, 30 pound realm. And now we're criticizing these skinny people who want to be bikini bodied by June, going for these medications. But can you blame them? If these medications are helping them lose the average 25 pounds, that's right up their alley. But in medicine and in the media, okay, the problem we have not only is, many of us could lose 20 pounds, but it's the ones that need to lose 100 pounds. And what I'm seeing, which is a problem, is we are falsely giving false hope to some of these extremely obese individuals, thinking their 25-pound weight loss average medication is going to do the trick. And then when it doesn't do the trick, or it's too expensive, or it starts to not wear off, but you don't start to notice any more weight loss with it, and you start to plateau. It's kind of risky for somebody who's 280 pounds or 300 pounds. Now, I don't mind patients wanting to try it. There might be the select few that can lose 80 to 100 pounds on these medications. If you are doing diet, exercise, you are incorporating it into a whole new plan, and it is giving you the strength and the grit to plow through a certain diet plan, all the power to you. But if you're thinking that all these medications that are being advertised are going to turn your body around, you're getting you're going to be in culture shock. You're going to be upset and you're going to be frustrated. And so we're seeing now, what are we looking at? 20% of the adult population has been trying these medications. Meanwhile, diabetics are like, every time my husband needs to get a refill of his medication, they're like, out of stock. Like, can you guys make sure the diabetics can get it first? Come on, man. People with diabetes who need these medications, that's what they were originally intended for. But I understand everybody's trying to get ready for summer body. I get that. But when you read over and over again, 20-pound weight loss, 10% of their body weight, they're advertising this medication helped you lose 10% of your body weight. Okay, well, if you're 200 pounds, how much is 10%? 20 pounds. Now, again, 20 pounds is good. If everybody could lose 20 pounds, we would do a lot for our health and for healthcare costs. But I fear the backside of it, where I'm having patients go, I'm not losing the weight I need to on this medicine, and I'm now $6,000 in the hole. I know. It's because you fell for marketing. And your medical provider, have you talked to your doctor about this? I don't have a doctor. Well, then where did you get your medicine? Online. So be careful. Now, again, if your goal is 25, 30 pounds, and even if your goal is higher, still make sure there is a weight management program. With smoking cessation, they have patches. And these patches for nicotine, which we're all aware of, even the packages don't say just slap the patch on and go about your merry way. They say you need to be a part of a nicotine withdrawal program. You need to have the training and the counseling and the support. This is what needs to be, this is sadly what needs to be identified and understood. So, listen, I'm all for people losing weight. I love that these companies are coming up with medications. I think it's fantastic. But just with a very kind of raised eyebrow, look at what they're actually saying. And yes, losing 27 pounds is fantastic. But if you have family members who, can't spend that kind of money to just lose 27 pounds, they might have to look at other options. What are other options? Well, bariatric surgery, gastric sleeves. Now, I'm not a big fan of, surgery when you could do something pharmaceutically, but I got to tell you, I have seen amazing work and amazing weight loss. That sort of drastic weight loss people need with the gastric sleeve. The gastric sleeve is where they remove that hanging pouch from the stomach so you don't have to have a Roux-en-Y and all the plumbing of your intestines, rerouted. We're just going to remove the hanging pouch. Your stomach is smaller. You're going to become more full. Unfortunately, I have seen people still gain weight after their gastric bypass. And I've seen people go from being super skinny to gaining weight. If you haven't changed your habits, if you still get hungry, if you still have an addiction to sugar and carbs, or you're still not exercising, you unfortunately are going to gain the weight back. Same with these shots. If we found a way for permanent weight loss, we'd do it. I know a lot of people have tried liposuction. No, because the fat is going to just deposit in other areas. Now, I understand sculpting, and trying to get the curves you want by removing some excess rolls. I get that, and love handles. But the fat is going to deposit where it wants to deposit. And I'm seeing some fat necks in some of these individuals who are getting a lot of lipo. So we have not yet come to that point, we need to, where we could really look at food and junk food and alcohol aversely. I mean, yeah, there's hand abuse and things like that for alcohol, but we just haven't gotten to that point where we have something you could safely do long term, where you could say, I'm not going to put that in my body and I'm going to lose weight. But we do have some medicines out there that are helping curb some of that. Just be aware that these are marketing campaigns. And, make sure it's the right fit for you. 1-877-DOC-DOLLY. Don't go away.
Can you believe, with all the recent violent protests, looting, and destruction, some areas are considering either defunding or abolishing the police? At a time when America's neighborhoods need the protection of police the most, some elected officials would rather create more chaos by playing politics. If you're sick of elected officials caving in to demands of the radical left, you're not alone. It's time we stand up and declare our support for local police. The majority of police officers are important partners in protecting our God-given rights. If you prefer freedom over chaos, then learn how you can help protect the local police that serve your community. Call today and request your free Support Your Local Police info packet. Dial 800-JBS-USA-1. That's 800-JBS-USA-1. Request your free Support Your Local Police info packet by calling 800-JBS-USA-1 today.